Hello, everyone. So we'll go ahead and get started with today's webinar. So we want to welcome you to our webinar today on the new rules of website marketing. We believe this is a timely topic coming off last week's big announcement from Google regarding AI overviews in Google search and how the search landscape is evolving right in front of us. We were present last week in Mountain View, California at Google Marketing Live, and we have a lot to share with you today, and we want to thank you for joining us. We want to start with, before we dive into today's session, we're sharing some information about education dynamics. Our mission is simple but powerful. We maximize human potential by transforming people, teams, and organizations in higher education. Everything we do, from research to strategy to execution, is grounded in that purpose. We believe that when you unlock the full potential of individuals and institutions, you don't just improve outcomes, you drive lasting impact. That's why we're here today, to share insights that we believe will help you elevate your work, better serve students, and lead with confidence in this evolving landscape. This is our why. So at Education Dynamics, we believe the status quo is no longer sustainable in higher education. The moment we are in demands bold thinking, fresh models, and a willingness to challenge convention. That's why our work is centered around two essential pillars: driving revenue growth and building brand reputation. When done in balance, these are the cornerstones of long-term financial sustainability, and we help institutions execute with a focus on both of these. Our solutions don't just improve performance, they challenge institutions to evolve. We help colleges and universities attract, recruit, and retain the modern learner, a learner who is ageless, digitally fluent, outcomes-driven, and is the architect of their own journey. So next slide. So here are some fun facts and stats about Education Dynamics. We are here to help take our partners further, faster, with results that outperform the market, creating and capturing demand for our partners, driving 47% average enrollment growth over 5 years, while focusing on strategies to manage cost of acquisition reduction. Please do reach out to us to schedule a consultation and learn more about how we can help your institution drive revenue and amplify reputation. So a few housekeeping items before we begin today. Our presentation today will be recorded. A link will be sent out afterwards. The recording will be sent out the same day or next morning of the presentation itself. And also, please do stay live with us for the entire event today, because we will provide exclusive access to a new resource from our website marketing team at the end of this presentation. So you do not want to miss that. So stay live if you can. I'm now going to turn the presentation over to the presenters for today from Education Dynamics, John Weaver and Karina Kogan.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. So hello to everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I am John Weaver. I'm the Senior Director of Website Marketing here at Education Dynamics. I've been in the SEO and digital marketing space for a little over 20 years, and about 12 of those years have been in higher education with Education Dynamics. I oversee our team of website marketing strategists, managers, UX CRO specialists, and I look forward to walking through our 4 pillars with you today.
Hi, my name is Karina Kogan, and I'm the Vice President of Partnership Development here at Education Dynamics. I am at the front line of working with our prospective partner institutions and helping them develop customized strategies that drive enrollment. I'm so excited to partner with John today and talk to you a little more about all the changes, exciting changes that are going on with higher education marketing. So before we get started, let's talk about this turning point really in our lives. I know the topic today is higher education, but I think we truly are at a turning point in our lives today. AI is changing everything. And of course, higher education marketing is no exception. The way the students engage with schools, the way that they look for content, the way that they connect with institutions is going through a major transformation. The channels that they're using, the tools that they're using to reach out to institutions have all been evolving and continue to evolve. Definitely with AI and all the changes that Google is going through. So let's talk about the three major components that are happening today. How prospective students seek out value information is shifting. Today's students are more self-directed in their educational searches. They're not waiting for institutions to reach out to them. They're actively researching across multiple platforms, including search engines, social media, and of course, AI. They expect instant, relevant, and personalized information. And if they don't find it easily, they just move on. So you really have to focus on making sure you're providing that to your prospective students. AI is changing how advertisers work with prospective students and redefine those best practices. AI-driven platforms analyze behaviors in real time, optimizing placements, messaging, and bidding strategies automatically. What does that mean? It means that we really have to move on from our manual campaign management, and we have to use strategic data-driven strategies, leveraging information to enhance performance while maintaining human oversight to drive to institutional goals. And the third one is really a big topic. It's the importance of your brand. Did you know that 60% of higher education searches today start with brand? If you compare how students were searching in 2015 to how they're searching today, there has been a 356% increase in brand searches first. Students are no longer just looking for a program. They're looking for an institution that aligns with their values, career goals, and lifestyle. A strong brand differentiator in this crowded market will really help you improve your conversion rates and attract that student to come to your institution. This is a lot, and we're here today to share some best practices with you and to really help you understand how you can be most effective getting through this challenging time. Did you know that nearly 60% of searches today end without a click? Zero-click behavior forces us to re-examine how we are connecting with prospective students. If they're no longer clicking on the links that we're providing to them, how are we optimizing content? And how our overall online presence is really important and helps us connect with the prospective student. As Greg just mentioned, Google is really moving towards making their search results rich, customized, and really providing prospective students with information right then and there so that they don't have to click on different links and go looking for them. So zero-click searches is really impacting higher education marketing in a big way. In addition to that, 65% of EDU searches today contain AI overviews. I think this is huge. If you look across different industries, education, healthcare, and technology are leading the way. And this is really interesting because if you think about healthcare, and if we use AI or ChatGPT and ask a straightforward question, if I have a fever, should I go to a doctor? You know, what are the symptoms of a cold or a flu? You get a pretty straightforward answer. However, in higher education, it's not as straightforward and linear. We as prospective students will ask us a question like, is it worth it to get an MBA? Or how do I pay for education? So as the AI overviews across the board of the different industries evolve, it's very, very evident that a shift in search behaviors will continue to evolve. And we are here to support you and help you figure out how to best use the right tools and position your institution so that you can attract the best prospective students to your institution for all of the different needs that are available to you today. So, John, I have a question for you. Aren't most universities use website marketing today?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we're going to jump into that with our next slide here, because unfortunately, a lot of institutions that we come across to today are using what we refer to as old school SEO or old school website marketing practices. And it's time to evolve. Because as we look at this next slide here, here's a timeline of all of the algorithm changes over the last 20, 25 years. And it is significant. I've been around for most of these. I got started in early 2005, and I've gone through the majority of these changes on the timeline. And one thing I can say with certainty is SEO and website marketing has always evolved. It's always changing. Every 3 to 5 years, there's always been a significant rename of an algorithm update, as you can see on our timeline here. And search engine marketers have had to pivot and adjust. But the biggest takeaway here from this timeline and in the change today is that it's no longer about gaming the system, gaming what Google is putting out there for SEO rankings. They've been pushing marketers to focus on the user for decades now, and it's no longer optional. You have to focus on the user, what the user wants, or you're going to be left behind. You're going to be looking at the old school tactics that really just aren't working anymore. And so here's one of my favorites. I wish I could frame this and put it on my wall. A fun glimpse back at 1999, pre the Gmail links and some of the other things that come out here. Maybe if you guys remember, the "I'm feeling lucky" button would provide some different results. But this is where we all got started with Google. Entering a keyword phrase or trying to search a specific way to see what your search results would look like. It was very less conversational and more about the keyword. You can see on the left-hand side, things have started to change a little bit, but mostly there's those top 10 rankings that we all really crave and work hard to get into for traffic, right? Well, it's kind of changed. It's evolved more than ever the last 18 to 24 months. And now, as Karina mentioned, we have AI overviews at the top. So Google has introduced the AI search results known as the AI overviews, and those are kind of dominating the top of the search results. We're also seeing more authoritative sites like Reddit, Quora, Medium, LinkedIn. Some of those platforms are also making their way into the search results, making it much more difficult for folks to game the SEO system and really pushing us to have a full cohesive strategy. And this slide here, it really kind of demonstrates, kind of zooms out a little bit more of what the new search results are looking like. So if you're not familiar with the AI overview, it's just the result at the top, and you can click more to expand it. And you can even start to have a conversation with it a little bit more like an AI agent than a traditional search result. There's a lot of noise in the industry in terms of how bad these AI overviews can hurt traffic. And they are, in the sense that if you're ranking down below these AI overviews, there is a loss of traffic. But not a lot of people are talking about the potential of getting in the AI overviews. And that's something that our team has been working hard on, because if you capture the AI overview rankings, as you can see there to the right on this one here, gaining traffic and exposure from the AI overviews is a significant lift. So getting your brand into this mix, into the conversation with the AI bots and results has had a significant impact. Some of the things that you can see on the left-hand side here that I kind of laid out in bullets is really the importance of having brand visibility. First person experience, it continues to win. This is something we've worked on with our partners in terms of having subject matter experts, faculty and staff quotes within content, and especially testimonials from students. These are gold today in terms of your website marketing strategy and bringing real world experience into your content. So it's not just about chasing a keyword and writing a piece of content, but being real and adding legitimate factors to your brand that Google can embrace for the rankings. So we talk about old school. What is old school? John, what are you talking about? And so for us, there's been a mix of SEO and organic search. And if you've followed us in the past, you may have seen this slide here, but this is the old style of organic search where we had technical SEO, content marketing, and conversion rate optimization. Those things are still very important today. There's aspects of those that absolutely should be part of your strategy, but we felt that they weren't evolving as quickly as possible, and it was time to adjust. So here's new school website marketing. And really it kind of comes down to you can't just chase certain things or have SEO and keywords. That's not enough. You have to evolve your strategy. And so that's why we've expanded our pillars into full website marketing. So what are those pillars? How can we get there? Well, the biggest thing is you have to have your toolbox. You have to have your tools within that. And the biggest thing that I've been asked as we've talked about website marketing and evolving from the organic search team and strategy is this drastically going to change what we're doing? A lot of the things that are in our toolbox now, they're still there. Sometimes tools get old and they don't work as well as they did in the past, and it's time to upgrade, especially as technology continues to advance. We're bringing in newer, more sophisticated tools that are helping us execute more efficiently and also helping us from a data perspective. Some of these that are on here have AI components to them. That's something that hasn't necessarily been a new thing for our team, as we've been leveraging tools like SEMrush, ScaleNut, Surfer SEO for years now that have had those elements worked in. And so as we get to the pillars, we've got that toolbox that's going to help us execute some of these pieces. But we really broke this out to highlight some of the expansion and the evolution of what we're trying to accomplish for our partners here at Education Dynamics. So we put SEO in its own pillar. And so anything from technical adjustments on site within the code, making sure your site health, that's still the foundation of your SEO practices, all of that needs to be buttoned up. Things from SEO targeting and schema markup, all of those great things are still a strong, important piece of this strategy and deserve to be its own pillar. Content creation is not just written words. It needs to include data tables, infographics, so visuals that can be used by users, shared on different platforms, and then video. Video is another aspect that also really helps within the strategy. If you can leverage that within social media, if you have a YouTube presence, or if it's desired by our UX and CRO specialists, we may bring a video into a program page if it's going to help with conversion rate optimization. It just depends upon what the audience may be looking for. So having that as part of your strategy and not just thinking written words that are targeting a keyword, but really what type of content do we need to develop to speak to your specific audience? That's the key today with the website marketing. And our last two pillars are user journey and amplification. And user journey is really taking the CRO and UX and just expanding it even more. We've developed an incredible team here at Education Dynamics with UX strategists that dive deeper than things that I can even wrap my head around sometimes, with some of the elements they look at, from navigation structure to where things are placed on the page to how users are flowing through your website and getting lost before converting. really focusing on the user journey as other folks on the team are trying to build and increase awareness for your brand and website is a critical piece that can't be missed. And then amplification. We'll talk more about this in just a minute as we dive into the pillars, but amplification really strengthens your brand. Make sure that we're not just targeting keywords, but putting signals out there for users and the search engines to make sure that you're a legitimate, established brand that's credible enough to not only rank, but be cited as a source in some of the AI LLM platforms. All right, so with SEO optimization, it's really not, if you're not visible, you're not in the conversation. This is something we like to say within our team, because you have to be visible to be considered and then ultimately convert into a potential student. So it's no longer optional. We have a few stats here, and Greg, as I have him with me today, has shared presentations about the modern learner. 75% of users, they never go past page 1. So that's something that we know. So we have to be present, and as present as possible, even if it means further optimization to get you into that AI overview box. We have to be as visible to our users as possible, whether that's within Google, within ChatGPT, TikTok, Medium, LinkedIn, whatever the platform may be. We have to be as visible as possible. We know that with Google, there's 8.5 billion searches happening every single day. So even as AI continues to evolve, and we're going to evolve right there with it, we can't abandon what's happening on Google. There's still plenty of searches taking place from an organic and paid media standpoint. Plenty of pie to still take for all of us here today. So can't ignore that. And 46% of searches are local. And this is why, even with some of our online partners, we have a local presence, knowing that even if it's online programs, but you're in a specific area, our team can focus and look at local profiles, pages discussing your location or campus locations, and tying that all together so that you're present, whether they're searching in your area or possibly relocating or whatever it may be. Keeping the local search aspect in play is something that's really critical right now that we're seeing in Google. All right, so what do we deliver? What does this mean? What are some of the specific things that you could do for our team if we were working together? So competitive keyword research still is very, very important, but it's taking it one step further, and it's bringing in the semantic SEO and user intent crafting. This is something we offer, and we've done for several partners. We'll get started with an audit, and something you guys could do is reach out to Karina, and that's something we could set up potentially and examine your current site and some of your program pages. And we bring the semantic SEO approach in, and this is targeting the topic, the specific topic, and not just a keyword specifically. So it's really crafting your content around that, so you guys again have the visibility for the full program topic and not just specific keywords. Schema markup optimization, that's additional coding that gets added to your page, helps the search engines, helps the AI LLMs identify what your pages are about. So again, you guys can be as visible as possible within the results. Internal linking, site health and monitoring, some of these pieces there are still critical, and what some of you may be familiar with from some of the old school SEO practices. Not all of those pieces are irrelevant today. Some of these are still very, very important. And lastly, I'll mention again is optimizing the local search profiles, especially taking a look at not only your Google profile, but your profile on Bing. Believe it or not, I'm going to mention Bing in this webinar today, as Bing or Microsoft is partnered with OpenAI, who created ChatGPT. That's a great way to ensure that your local elements are pulled into ChatGPT correctly, because that's something we'll talk about here more in just a second, is having your information not only visible, but correct when it comes into the AI LLM platforms. All right, so content creation, this is our next pillar. Really, this is something I want you guys to take away. If you could snippet this or write it down in your notepad. This is one that's really, really important for me today is brand awareness is not optional. We can no longer just take a page or a website, put some keywords in there with content and expect it to rank and perform in Google search or even AI search. Both Google and the AI LLMs are looking for established brands. They're looking at signals to know that you are a legitimate entity and that your content that you're producing, whatever form that may be, is as relevant as possible. So before students engage with your message, they need to recognize your name. So put these two pieces together there, because when it comes down to developing your content and your brand, you have to bring the two together. And some of the things that we've seen and evaluated from our partner performance is 59% of users will leave when content is poorly written. We've seen a two and a half time more conversions from compelling copy, and an 80% boost in conversion when video is present on some of the tests that we've run. So again, it's not just putting the content or the material out there with a specific keyword you're hoping to gain traffic for. It's bringing it all together, knowing what types of content, where it should be posted, what other elements should be in place for your strategy. And so here we have a couple pieces just breaking this down. So good points to kind of keep with you again, just as you're working through what can be done with this specific pillar, is why it matters, and how we do it here at Education Dynamic. I'm going to hit these kind of quick here. In terms of some of these, we know it's going to capture and hold the attention. Again, with the stories, the testimonials, the quotes, we have to have good, well-written content with the right intent to rank within the search engines. But we also leverage some of this content to build the credibility. So we have several strategists on our team that are taking pieces of content and they're posting it on third-party platforms to, again, help build the brand recognition that you guys need. It really comes down to, at the end of the day, not every piece of content is created for conversion. It's going to support the mission and the strategy with the brand, but everything at the end of the day points to enrollments. We know you guys need students and seats. So that is the goal of all of our content, all of the content strategy. And a few things there on the right-hand side. Blog content, we developed this very, very well. Program pages, whether you guys are introducing new programs for your school or rewriting current program pages, we have a phenomenal process with the semantic approach to optimize your page, not only for conversions, but for search engines and LLMs. Video scripts, infographics, FAQs, any format of content under the sun, our team here at Education Dynamics can take care of it. If it's part of the strategy that we need to build your brand and get the traffic needed to convert and hit goals, we can develop it on the website marketing team. So user journey, this is a big one as well, in terms of you don't just need more traffic, you need more students. We know that. I ought to put it on the wall next to me here. It's not just about traffic, it's about more students. And that's the biggest thing. And some of you that might be listening today might be really concerned about all of the changes, the volatility and the search results. And that's not lost on us. Like I said, it's an evolution. Things are going to change, and we're always working hard to test and try new things at Education Dynamics to be ahead of the curve. But one of those, while we're working through that, is doing more with what you guys currently have. So the traffic that you're getting to your website, how is it currently converting? Maybe you don't know that, what that current rate is here as you're listening to me to speak today. That's something that we can help you with. We bring our UX CRO team into the mix. They run heat mapping. They look at your analytics data. They see where users are getting lost, and we can help fine tune a strategy. We can implement A/B testing or let your dev team know what some of the best practices are to adjust. We can fine tune things all over the place for you from a user journey perspective. But we know that 88% of users won't return after a bad experience. That's critical. That is so much of your traffic coming to your website, all of that effort getting lost because the site or page was not set to convert. 59% abandoned sites when info is hard to find. They couldn't find the program they wanted. Maybe it's tuition information or the simple request information or an application, apply now button. Maybe those things were hard for them to find. Maybe they were on a mobile device and it doesn't look as easy as it does on the desktop device. So having our team evaluate that as well. Those are great things that can be done. And there's a 50% increase in engagement with intuitive navigation. And I think we could almost have a presentation alone on some of these UX pieces, but looking at your navigation structure, how users run through the flow of your site, what it takes for them to find the most important pieces of information. Our team has done some phenomenal testing on navigation structure and helped some of our partners make the adjustments to get better conversion rate just by adjusting some of that structure. Jump to the next one here. All right, so why it matters, what we deliver. I know I'm kind of beating it home here of why it matters, but really it comes down to your current traffic is very, very valuable. CRO helps you squeeze more results from every single visit. So do more with what you are currently getting while the other marketing pillars drive more traffic and awareness to your brand. I'm going to kind of skip through these a little bit, but CRO, it's not just about clicks. It impacts SEO rankings and performance and your reputation as well. If users come to your website from the search results and they leave quickly and return back to Google and click on one of your competitors, that's called pogo sticking, SEO pogo sticking. And that hurts your rankings because Google will drop you down in the results. So that's why our team works side by side with our CRO and UX strategists. So we know when we're optimizing a page for SEO and performance, we also look at the CRO side because they go hand in hand. Some of the things that we would do if we're working together is implement heat mapping data so we can follow the users around and see where they're running into issues and see what things are working on your page and make adjustments. A/B testing is a big part of our strategy, and we're set up there with a partnership with Optimizely for our partners that are currently signed on, so we can run active A/B tests and see what is actually working with live users on your website and then make adjustments. Adjusting CTA placement, the inquiry RFI form optimization is another big area, whether your fields are too long, the placement of them, required questions. There's so many pieces that we could dive into on this particular piece here. So we'll jump ahead a little bit, but we could continue to discuss the UX elements all day long. I could keep you guys here all day. But our last pillar is brand amplification. And so this is where if you're not everywhere, you're nowhere. And it kind of comes into search everywhere optimization. So as Google continues to evolve, we know they're absolutely everywhere. There's billions of searches. There's Chromebooks, there's tablets, there's mobile phones. Google's on just about every device out there, but we can't ignore these other platforms. We've seen a lot of traffic coming from Medium, LinkedIn, TikTok, Claude, YouTube, even ChatGPT. We're starting to see those things come through as our data teams are able to track some of those elements. And so for us, we have 82% of students are more likely to click on familiar brands. So that means getting out in front of them, out in these third-party platforms, making sure that part of your strategy is to have a presence. Goes back to what I said earlier of brand awareness is no longer optional. 58% search for schools before they search for programs. This was something that Greg mentioned in our Modern Learner report, is that they're looking for familiar brands, something that sparks their interest. And if we can get in there with competitors, if we can get into the mix with the results of competitors, that's where we could start to sway their mind and push them to your organization. 23% of top Google results are third-party websites. So that simply means that 23% of the search results are Google searches. You're going to see Medium, TikTok, LinkedIn, Reddit, different websites than a .com or even a .edu in the top 10 rankings of Google search results. And so that's been a huge part of our strategy, is to leverage the power of those platforms to rank for topics that we want to get in front of with your potential students. We've seen a lot of success there, syndicating some of the content on these platforms, getting the rankings up there, and ultimately funneling them over to the school website to convert. All right, so a few things to take away from brand amplification. I've covered this a lot, but it expands your presence beyond your .edu. That's a big one to kind of circle and take away. Is ranking is not just about your personal website anymore. It's other platforms that you can control. So the third-party platforms, social media, Medium, Reddit, any of the ones that are out there, anything that you can leverage besides your current website, that helps amplify your brand. It builds trust. It helps get out there before they even become an inquiry. You can control the narrative, position them with brand and unbranded content, and it really drives traffic from these platforms into your sites. And the more that we build your brand, it's going to strengthen you within these AI LLM platforms. So generative engine optimization, building your brand awareness online is going to strengthen your ability to get into those results as well. Okay, so this slide here will kind of take you, we've talked through the old school and the new school, and I won't break down all of these because we just covered them. But if you're still hanging with me, I appreciate it. Hopefully your eyes aren't blurred, and I haven't put you to sleep yet with all of the information we've shared today. But you might be asking yourself, okay, John, I'm following some of this. It makes sense. But where do I even start? How am I supposed to do all this? Can you guys do some of this? Really, where do I even begin? Jump to our next slide here. I'm going to pass it to Karina to talk about how we can implement the transformation.
Thanks so much, John. Wow, so much information. And this is something that definitely is a big point today. I think, we talked a lot about, brand and customization and everything that institutions need to know today to really make their marketing stand out and be more effective and efficient. We work with institutions every day in helping you redefine what this new era of marketing, higher education marketing looks like. So just to sum it up, your marketing really needs to evolve with ever-changing student behaviors and platforms that students are using today, especially AI and how paid search is changing so significantly with AI overviews and use of AI. And I think we've said this a million times today, but brand today, your brand, plays a large role in your overall marketing success. We work with institutions every day, helping them customize strategies to put your brand in front of prospective students and help them really understand why your institution is the right place for them. And I think with the ever-changing behaviors of modern learners, before we finish up today, I really wanted to remind you again who the modern learners are. As you put together strategies and work with your prospective students, it's important to remember that modern learners are architects of their own educational journey. They prioritize flexibility and accessibility over traditional academic experiences, and they value outcomes, and they really want an authentic experience when they come to school. There are three major C's that you have to remember as you're putting out your content and brand and making sure that you're connecting with prospective students. the modern learner really cares about three major things: cost, convenience, and career outcomes. And all of your marketing, in order to be effective in communicating and connecting with modern learners, you have to communicate these three things. So now is when we're going to stop our recording. As Greg mentioned in the beginning, we're going to stop the recording.
Is AI search going to replace digital advertising? And the second part of the question is, will Google monetize AI search in some way? We're not Google, by the way, so we're
that
just
is a great question. We did have some folks at Education Dynamics out at Mountain View last week at their conference, but yes, I agree. We are not Google, but I'm going to work backwards on that question, Greg. Yes, I think they will absolutely monetize it. I don't want to misspeak, as our paid digital media side will have more insight into the specifics, as I know they have a great finger on the pulse of when ads are going to be into the AI overviews. We were just chatting about that this morning, actually. So yes, I think absolutely they're going to monetize the AI portion. Not only the AI overviews, but now the AI mode tab that is available to all users in the United States. I think as you start to search in AI mode, they'll list some of the websites kind of in a tile format above the chat. I personally would expect to see them test some paid digital media ads at the top of that. That is my own speculation. I haven't read anything there. But yes, I would expect them to monetize as much as they can because they're a business, right? But the first part, I think it's going to take over digital marketing as a whole? I honestly don't. I very candidly with you don't. I think it has hurt several pieces, but it has also grown and expanded a lot of pieces as well. So just like we talked about today, SEO has changed. Organic search is changing. And one of those pieces that's been really, really exciting for me, and I've had a lot of fun playing with, personally in terms of testing some of the options, is the third-party platforms, using the power of the third-party platforms to rank for topics and keywords that you want to gain visibility on in the Google search results. That's been pretty cool. We've seen a lot of niche or niche websites, however you might say that word. A lot of those sites have been, quote, killed or devastated the last couple of years with these updates because Google wants to see a brand. And a lot of those sites were just quick sites, lots of content, maybe AI generated content to get Google rankings and exposure. And that's not what they want. They want true legitimate brands. So yeah, I really don't. I think it's going to continue to evolve, and I'm honestly super excited to see where this goes. Great question. Thanks.
Got it. Thank you, John. Another question that came in, kind of along the same lines, I think, John, asking you to put your futurist hat on just a little bit, but I think we're seeing some of this in the data that we're seeing with Google today, but the nature of search is evolving, and the nature of search is looking more like a query in a LLM system. So in light of that, the nature of search is evolving, and then the returns that Google is providing are also evolving at the same time. And you mentioned earlier, it's important to focus on the user, like I think Google has been trying to get marketers to focus on for a long time. How should we be thinking about our marketing overall in this new world that we're going to be living in, or that we're currently living in today?
Yeah, great question. First thing I'll say is this question right here is why CRO and UX is mission critical, because as changes continue to occur in the search results, in the digital media landscape, you have to have something in place to see whatever traffic you're gaining to your website, how is it performing? Are you getting the most out of what's coming to your website? So that's the biggest thing I want to say is if that is not a part of your current strategy, it really should be. Because as we say, we need more students in seats. If you don't know what's currently working or maybe hindering conversions on your site, mission critical there. And then really, I think it comes back to the piece, Greg, of again, just the evolution in itself, and how do we change. And really, with website marketing, we have the 4 pillars. There's multiple things we can do, and this particular webinar is specifically about website marketing, but really you need to embrace all channels, right? So we've talked about brand awareness. There's also email marketing, paid digital media. You need to have a full marketing strategy around your brand, and make sure that your channels or your channel resources or your vendors or your teams, whatever it may be, everybody should be aligned with what the brand strategy, brand terminology, the slogan, any of that kind of stuff, the brand wording, everybody should be aligned with that. And I think sometimes channels might be run by different folks, and it's not necessarily in place. And that's one of the things I do. I'm going to plug our team here, is that we run all of those channels that I just mentioned. And so having that cross from website marketing to social to the awareness team, everybody can be aligned on what the overall goal is, what the strategy, what the terminology needs to be. But so if things change in the search results, that's okay. If it's going more to AI or third-party platforms, just adjust and move. And we're going to go wherever those potential students are to get them to your website.
Thank you, John. There's a question in the QA and that came in. I hope the person that asked is still with us, because he asked this quite a while ago, 30 minutes ago maybe. Goes back to something you were talking about earlier, John. On the 80% boost in conversions with video, we have found that very few prospective students interact with video at all on our D1 website. How are you positioning video to optimize conversion rates in your sample size from that statistic?
Yeah, great question. So my understanding of that particular statistic, it's a combination of both, of third-party platforms and within pages that we've done A/B tests within the program pages themselves. So I'm not sure off the top of my head in terms of what the specific engagement metrics looked like with the video, but in terms of our tests of having the video present, that's where we saw an improvement. So yeah, really good question. I think it's fair to say there's probably more specific elements that could be in place with that in terms of a full breakdown. Maybe something we can send out, or our team here at Eddy, maybe we can post a follow-up with some additional details in terms of how we're using video. So something to maybe look for on LinkedIn. We'll see if we can get something published out there in a blog post or something like that.
Great. Thank you, John. Here's a question that just came in, which is perfect for you, John. This person, you're asking, I think, the best SEO resource in all of higher ed here. But the question is, should we include an SEO specialist within our organizational structure, and what skills should that person have?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think it's great if you can. If you guys have the budget for it, I think it's really, really helpful. Some of our best partnerships are working with in-house teams. And honestly, candidly, whatever you want to say here is one of the first things we say is we're not out to take your job, because we work better. I shouldn't say better, but we work really well with in-house teams. We're not there to replace in-house teams. So having a point of contact from the SEO side is always a great thing, because that SEO specialist on your side can sync up with our website marketing strategists on our side and really align with the strategy. So it's no offense to anybody on the call, but you may not get in the weeds as much as us on some of this data, and having someone on your team that you can look to as a point of contact that's going to understand some of the terminology that kind of keeps you from having to stay in the know on some of it. It can be very, very beneficial. What the skills should be, experience is always great. I think willingness to learn. It is silly as that may or not sound, or not silly, but corny, right? Because we're all in the education industry here. you have to adapt. So I think that's the biggest thing, is getting someone on your team that's not set in their ways, maybe not stuck in the old school mindset of SEO, or I've done this for years and this is how it works. But being willing to evolve and work with your vendors in terms of what your strategy is. Those are a couple things I would look for sure if you're hiring an in-house SEO person. Great question.
Thank you, John. Got time for a couple more questions here. There's one in the chat that I see.
Okay.
Do you use AI to generate content? If so, how, especially with the risk of using AI content in Google SEO?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've actually leveraged tools within our process that have had an AI element for a long time in terms of researching current content, comparing it against competitors, things like that. And as AI has advanced, we've leveraged that more. But when it comes to specifically writing your content, or to you, are you guys using that to write content? We have tested that and are still continue to test that in certain areas, and with partners that are aware of that. So I want to stress that is, so no, we're not just using AI to write all of our content. We have a phenomenal team of human writers that write our content, and I think that's mission critical. Can they use and leverage AI for components or research? Absolutely, and that's made us super efficient. I agree with the comment, as I think there is some risk to just writing AI generated content, but there's some back and forth with that. There's a lot of folks that have made gains and have publicly shared that. We've tested articles that are fully AI generated and ranked them in the Google search results. So I think it comes down to, what does the content actually do? Does it actually add value? And really, if you can just quickly generate the article and answer a question, isn't Google going to do that with their AI overview anyway? So you're missing the unique perspective, that first person element, the testimonials, the subject matter expert quotes. You're missing those things that AI can't generate. So again, no, it's not something we actively use to generate. We're still very much on the human side, but constantly testing and leveraging AI any way we can to see how it'll help our partners. That's a great question.
Thank you, John. Another question that came through the Q&A. Does the typical search engine user care if copy on an ad is truncated or not? Or if your first few visible words can be made compelling, is that enough?
Oh, that is a great question.
I knew you would like that one,
Yeah,
John.
that's a great one. Since that's ad specifically, I'm going to say I can't give you a great answer. This is where I would look to my digital media experts on this one. But I will say, from the SEO side, your meta description or your title tag can truncate sometimes. And that is where you want to make sure that your keyword or most important piece is absolutely up front in case it does truncate. That's a great question. I've done a few personal tests to shorten descriptions to make sure they don't truncate, and I've seen a little bit better click-through rate. But again, organic side only. I can't answer that one honestly for you, because I'm not the PPC or paid digital media guru. Great question.
Yeah, I think it's something to test.
Absolutely.
To try both things and see what works better, because what works for one type of outcome desired may work better with something else. So always good to test. I think we're about at time. I want to, Karina and John, thank you both for taking the time to share this. And thank you all in the audience for sticking with us. I think we held on to a large number of our attendees today. I hope you got a lot of value out of this presentation. There's going to be more from Education Dynamics. We we talked about the moment that we are in earlier. A lot of things are changing right before our eyes in higher education. There's a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of challenges to navigate. I think more opportunities than challenges, and we have search evolving right in front of us. And just know that we are here to partner with you and help you navigate all of this. And we're happy to have a consultation with any of you at any time about what problems you're trying to solve and how we can help. So thank you again for joining us, and you guys have a great week.